Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
And you got Jaime and Fuego here.
We are continuing our Patreon reviews, you guys. This was a request from SK, longtime patron, who has actually requested some stuff that we are excited to do upcoming in the very near future, that being the Thing 2011 commentary. That was his request.
And that is not to say that we are not excited about this, especially after recently watching Hardware, and I watched Dust Devil.
Did you
I'm
really?
not sure if I should do a review
Might as well
on the channel for
is it horror enough?
Oh, kinda, yes.
Okay, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a weird
I'll have
movie.
you do that next, son.
Oh, wow, okay.
So there you go. So guys, we are here to review Lost Soul, the doomed journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. So
a passion project of his for years.
This is the 90s Island of Dr. Moreau, starring none other than Marlon Brando and a young Val Kilmer, who was apparently very full of himself.
Yeah, seemingly, although I love The Ghost in the Darkness, too, which he did about the same
true.
time.
Love that movie as well.
I don't know.
But what a pain in the ass he would have been if any of these stories are true. So, guys, this is actually a documentary all about the making of this ill-fated Island of Dr. Moreau movie, which has gathered at this point such a reputation for being such an awful movie. It's not even like a cult following, people watch it for fun movie. It's just widely known as a terrible, terrible movie.
And I don't even think it's so much a terrible movie in every aspect. In every aspect, because
at the time, the design and the makeup effects were good.
And there was so much awesome thought.
By the way, those makeup effects seemingly beyond the makeup effects than we're getting in this brand new Cats trailer. Am I wrong? Like, I looked at that and I was like, this is the Island of Dr. Moreau, but worse.
Yeah, well, everything was transposed on different actors. And there was
so bad,
kind of mocap and then face mocap and different visual actors. Anyway, so I still proclaim, because I saw it. I don't know about you. Did you see Island of Dr. Moreau in theaters?
I don't remember seeing it in theaters.
I totally saw that in theaters. Okay. Crypt Town, as you would have called it. Yes. Crypt Town, United Artists, man. I saw it on the big screen there. It was the one that had the most emphasis and the best sound system and Dolby, all that stuff.
Calm down. All right.
Okay. I was super stoked for that movie. I thought the trailers looked rad. I thought it was super creepy.
My best Crypt Town experience was Mortal Kombat. I gotta say that.
And well, he wasn't a kid actually either. You know, he was playing on the piano, and they touch upon that in the documentary actually about Brando's affinity for
having a little
small
person.
little midget little person, which is really unfortunate. But
I really enjoy this little man.
Exactly.
I want him on more of the movie.
I want more of sequence alphas between us, and it'd be really cool.
So yeah, it's about the doomed journey of this movie that was helmed by a director by the name of Richard Stanley that directed Hardware and Dust Devil, like he said.
Mm-hmm. And he hasn't done anything since then.
No, and he didn't finish this.
Yeah.
This story gets so wacky, you guys, where the director ends up at one point sneaking back on set and working as an extra just in order to still be close to the project.
And trying to hide his identity as well.
It's so unbelievable. This was a really good documentary because it had such crazy... I knew that Hollywood sets could be nuts, but this... Having to be a part of this movie in any level of the production would have been insane.
Yes.
But ultimately, overall, I liked the movie. I thought this was a good documentary.
It's massively fascinating for the fact that this is a property that people love so very much, especially Richard Stanley, which is why it was like a passion project of his. And then they talked about the original 2 iterations of it and how one was very faithful and one was not so much. And he wanted to dispel those, prior, just, I don't know, precognitive, preconceptions.
Preconceived notions, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank you, Cecil. He knows what I was thinking. But, so, I don't know, though. They did so much in the prior standpoint of preparation, and then they chose a terrible place to film it is really it's something that where they were scouting a location that would have looked amazing, but yet they didn't take into consideration the amount of just production hassles and problems where they couldn't film every day. There was going to be weather issues. There was going to be living issues. All these different things.
To use a recent pop culture likening, I would say that if the Fire Festival was a movie production, that's what this would have been. Completely mismanaged, poorly planned, and not only that, but an entire storm wiped away all of the sets in one fell swoop, and they had to rebuild from the ground up at one point in the production.
Yeah.
And it's just insane, some of the stories that we got on this set.
And the terrible leeway that they gave this director, bless his heart, he meant so well, but he was an idiot.
Yes.
Total idiot.
And he still maintains his idiocy to this day.
He does, as you see, because you have the interviews with him to this day in this documentary. He based everything on a shot of this like volcano like thing which was in the background, which they didn't use for any shots really in the goddamn movie. So it just really, I mean, hey, he was a product of that generation of early 90s.
I'm going to place you.
Sorry.
Just slightly. There you go. Stand right there.
He was a product of that early 90s filmmaking, and it wasn't just in America, man. I mean, it was definitely all over the UK and various parts of Europe where there was this very just like rebel outside of the studio system, you know, independent centric approach, which I mean, it yielded awesome stuff like Tarantino, Kevin Smith, and various others, but it also had stuff like Stanley where I loved Hardware, and then Dust Devil took a long time for him to even complete because it's not very good. I've seen it. I actually really liked Hardware a lot. I thought Hardware was awesome.
It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a surprise at how much. You know what? Let me reverse that. I wasn't going to say it's a surprise how much of a mess Dr. Moreau was. I'll say after watching the documentary and seeing the dude himself, what he was like, even all these years later in interviews, I'm surprised Hardware was as coherent as it was, is the way I'll put it.
To a degree. Maybe he had some awesome people behind him in that aspect.
Probably.
Yeah, and then we had, was it John Frankenheimer, if I'm not mistaken, that like jumped in the end process after Richard was replaced, you know, so he was fired from the job inevitably, which is why he ended up as an extra on the set, you know, in Australia, which is where, but it was in Australia Island where there was all the temporal weather conditions and everything that we had previously spoken of, and so, I mean, it's something where it could have been, and then when they switched directors and all the, you know, problems where they'd gone so far with these big studio names, they're not going to shelve the project, obviously. You know, and
Val Kilmer was an absolute nightmare on set.
Yeah.
I alluded to it earlier, but yeah, that's a big plot point.
He was also supposed to play a different character, remember? And then they shifted him over to just one that was going to be portrayed in a better light. And this was like mid-90s Kilmer, where he was really trying to be, I guess, more of a leading man. So he had done The Saint around this time with Elizabeth Shue, and I mean, this was long before people started to realize.
Elizabeth Shue, who's come back big and strong in The Boys. Let me tell you.
The Blind movie.
Oh,
yeah, that one too.
Yes, producer Dave, a brief little segue and appearance from that man. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they weren't going to shelve the film, and they were so in the red on it, which really sucks. And yet, I still continue to look back at how awesome the design of all of these creature character melding of, you know, I don't know, half animal, half whatever's.
The human-animal hybrids, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, even beyond our midget character, we had the original Hellboy, who did I keep leaning into it. Ron Perlman was awesome looking in this with all the makeup work that they did for him.
There was a few really good-looking characters in it, to be honest.
There were. And it was
the makeup effects were the shining achievement of the movie.
It was the redeeming quality of it, man. And the director, I don't know, as you find out in the documentary, all of the people who had worked with Richard previously said, oh, the new guy was an asshole. Well, he was there to, like, he was a seasoned Hollywood guy.
He actually cracked the whip and made sure things were done.
Yeah, and make sure they weren't just meandering on this rain-drenched set island where nothing was happening. And so it was just a perfect storm, you know, especially with all the weather aspects incorporated of just what could have been with the talent of a guy who was on a lot of Hollywood radars. That's why they gave him a big budget project like this. And he massively... it was a mixture of the fact that he wasn't properly prepared, even though he claims he was. It seems very evident from what everybody on the set said, where he would show up and he was just not even directing scenes, and he was just kind of meandering around and everything. He wasn't ready to, like, have a tight shit, and I don't know, good ideas, good thinking beforehand, and then just didn't have a leader at the top of the.
You can't account for lapses in judgment. Like when a good
No.
director just makes poor decisions, or when a producer decides to run a faucet while people are recording.
It all trickles down.
Yeah, it's a strange decision, no matter what.
It truly does. And didn't they find him like hiding in trees on particular times where he was supposed to be filming? And then Richard Stanley is like, we are giving a little producer Dave laugh right there. But Richard Stanley, man, hiding up in a tree when he's supposed to be directing a scene. And he's hiding up in a tree. It was that sort of stuff where you were just like...
But it's those sorts of stories that made it such an interesting documentary, I gotta say.
Absolutely. It was
it's very worth your time.
Immensely compelling. And, I mean, some of the interviews with his presumed liaison at the time, Fruza Balk, you know, and the fact that she defended him so...
vehemently.
Yes, and adamantly, and just was trying to... you know, I don't know, save us back and whatnot, to no avail in this documentary, especially when you see the final product and whatnot. But he is, he's actually working on something new right now, and he has for like 5 or 6 years, man. So who knows if it will see the proper light of day. But
who knows? This
was a disastrous production. However, that entail just yielded a fascinating documentary about just the aspect of the film process and where potential can be, I don't know, squandered, so to speak, and where proper guidance might have righted the ship and made things better in the long run. But
maybe so.
Who knows?
Nonetheless, the documentary proved to be very entertaining. There's no acting per se, you know, there's no real score or anything like. I mean, there might be a little bit of one, but that's not the point. It's just an entertaining documentary, and it's worth your time if you guys like that sort of thing. So
totally is.
Definitely check it out, and thank you very much to SK for requesting this one. On the back of Hardware, it was a cool follow-up because it was interesting to see the guy fall apart, you know, after watching Hardware. So
that was his also, right?
Yeah.
SK's.
I believe so, yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, if you guys have seen Lost Soul, the doomed journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau, then let us know in the comments down below. What did you think of it? If not, does this review push you that way? If so, I would like to take credit. You know, I think Fuego and I should take credit for spreading the word of this one, and all credit actually should go to SK for spreading the word of it. So,
and a slight bit to Lou, actually, because Lou told me about this documentary like over a year ago, dude. He was just like, and that's a
bit to Lou as well.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a horror show contributor at times, and he was. Like,
nonetheless, credit all around. You guys, it's worth your time.
Why the hell not?
So thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, I've been Jaime. Fuego.
If you guys want to become a patron, the link is in the description box down below, and you can request movies just like this one for us to review. But until next time, remember, stay scared.